As experienced real estate investors, I think we can both attest that it's not all fully roses. It's not like we're just banging out projects, making money on everything. Now, obviously, the goal is to make money on every project that you can. This is an investment. We are investors. We think along the lines of every deal as being as investors. But like, I've done over 3,500 loans over the years. Ian's done hundreds and hundreds of projects over the years, and I don't want to say that either one of us has, in essence, lost money on opportunities, but we've definitely had failed opportunities, and we've definitely had loser real estate deals. We're going to go through a few scenarios of some loser deals that we did in the past, or loser opportunities, or loser partnerships that we've done in the past, to make sure you can learn from some of these lessons so it doesn't happen to you.
Oh, yeah. No, and that's the best part. If you do real estate right, you should be able to fail forward, still land on your feet, hopefully get most of your money back, if not all of it, and allow you to continue to grow. And if you don't learn from your mistakes, then you're not growing. People say you're growing by learning all the time, but I think you grow from learning from your mistakes. So, Jason, why don't you take us through your first, what we'll call loser deal and opportunity that you took part in?
So before I started Hard Money Bankers in 2007, I was flipping some real estate, buying some rental properties, dabbling in real estate, learning along the way. And actually, it led me to start Hard Money Bankers. I would say that the first 4 deals that I did were pretty darn profitable. And, when your first deal ends up being profitable, it's good and bad. The good part is you make money and you learn. The bad part is you think that's how every deal is going to go, and that's not necessarily the case. Here are some before pictures of a property that we did in New Jersey early on. The funny thing is the first few deals that I did were out of state, just because we had some relationships up there. These were the before pictures, and these were the after pictures. And what ended up happening is this also coincidentally happened right during the real estate crash between 2006, 2007, it was right before Hard Money Bankers days, right when things crashed. And, luckily we still got out and pretty much just scraped by, broke even kind of on the transaction, which we were happy about. Obviously things could have been much worse, but what ended up happening is market timing wasn't great. When you're buying at the top of the market, which is similar to where a lot of real estate investors were purchasing properties as of recently, is it's a skinny margin game, right? Because you're fighting for deals. And as soon as the market changes just a bit, and the properties don't continue to appreciate, there's this thing that all these real estate investors think that properties always appreciate. Not true. Maybe over time and in the long run, but if you're fixing and flipping a property or holding something for short term, it might not continue to do so. And our construction went way over budget, which happens a lot. Our time frame went over budget. Our carrying costs to our hard money lender went over budget. The market softened. Luckily, we scraped out clean. But I will tell you that this sole property was the reason why I started Hard Money Bankers. And it's because that we worked our asses off on this deal for close to a year. We broke even. And our hard money lender, his name was Ray. He lent us money on the first 5 projects. It was 15% and 5 points, which we were happy to pay because we were making good money on all those deals that we flipped. And in this particular deal, he made a fortune. He made 15%. He made the 5 points. He made 20% annualized. I think our loan was like $160,000 on this deal. So he was the only one that made money in this transaction. And that led us to start Hard Money Bankers.
Yeah, no, I wish I had the foresight like you did some days. And instead of taking the bumps and bruises for us to continue to grow, some days I wish I said, hey, I should just be the lender, because there's a lot of times that the lender is the one that always makes the deal. I have a eerily similar story from the growth and scale standpoint. Early on, we raced to 10 houses. We were flipping a bunch of houses, and we were just like, dude, we know there's got to be a better way. And we started building, saying that we want to build a rental portfolio. So with that being said, I started hitting the Rolodex of some people that I know that I've spoken to, and there was a gentleman who seemed insanely smart. He was a securities attorney. He seemed to have some wherewithal about him. He was from, a very wealthy area. So I went to him and I said, "Hey man, like we really want to build a large portfolio of single family real estate. We think that there's a lot of opportunity and scale here. You know, the idea of owning 100 houses or 1,000 houses was very, very appealing to us. But what we found out as we started to grow the portfolio, the operational challenges came forward very, very fast. And we also found, and if Jason pops with the picture, just a sample size of some of the properties that we had done. This was the run of the mill stuff that we were doing over and over and over again. And we could continue to buy these properties over and over again. But what we found out was the partnership goals weren't the same. His partner, him and his capital partners' goals were not held to the same ideals and goals that we were trying to achieve from an operator standpoint. And then what happened was, as we continued to grow, as there was capital constraints, there was operational questions, there was difference of opinions of like, hey, how does this work? Why are we paying these bills and not making distributions, or whatever the rubs were? It turned out that we just had different operational goals overall, and that caused a really big rift in the partnership. Well, we made money all the way through the partnership. What happened was, the day we actually got out of that partnership, and look, we went out kicking and screaming. We're like, hey, like we really want to continue to own and operate this. They moved us from operator standpoint to just owner's position. They found another manager. We put our hands up. Guess what we did? We grew our portfolio by almost 100% the day we cut that dead weight out of our portfolio. So recognizing what's operationally dragging you down, and well, in real time, it doesn't feel right. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like someone's dragging a piece of you away. As you move forward and you continue to scale and grow, you'll find where operational challenges are. You'll find partners that don't line up with what you want to do, and ultimately allow you to make breaks quicker, sooner, and easier, allowing you to grow that much faster.
If you like this style of content, do us a favor and smash that like button. Even better, subscribe to the channel and we'll keep this content coming.
Yeah, another big failed opportunity that we had, and it wasn't over. And knock on wood, we haven't had a lot of huge failed opportunities, and I think you learn a lot from the failed opportunities. Not necessarily not that you're not learning from success. I think success is important because it ingrain it in your brain, and you want to continue to have that over and over, and you want to do similar things. But it's also, good to, in essence, like do something that you thought was smart, and then you realize it's not, and hopefully you catch it and pivot before it gets out of hand or it gets too big that it can break you. But one of the failed opportunities that we had was, in essence, bringing on a partner and started buying up a lot of real estate, and in essence scaling too fast. And I think that's one common mistake that a lot of real estate investors I see. That's probably the biggest common mistake that I see. Real estate investors flip a house, they make some money, and they go from like owning one property at a time to 4 at a time or 8 at a time. And it's like, yo, that's tough. It's a different business. If you own, I promise you, Ian's portfolio now, his day-to-day is very different than what his day-to-day was when he was one-offing projects. My day-to-day inside my lending company is very different than it was early on, and it's got to be. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but someone who owns 10 properties or buys 10 properties all at once, and they're only used to owning one at once, they're probably doing things that they were doing when they owned one at once, which is a recipe for disaster. So what we were doing is we would have a JV relationship with a real estate investor that we did some loans with. We tested out some loans, and then we decided to do some like joint ventures where, in essence, like we'd put up the capital, he'd do all the work, we'd split the profits, and all that worked out great on a small scale. But as we got on a larger scale, it ended up collapsing. It didn't work out great. His skill sets were good on one-off projects. He was able to manage one-off projects. Our system worked on one-off projects. We had management for rental properties internally as well. And on a small scale, it worked out great. On a large scale, it did not work out great. That's not to say that we couldn't have built it out to work out great, but it also wasn't something that we wanted to stay focused about. We weren't all that passionate about. We liked and grew our hard money lending company. We weren't really focusing as much as we should have on that particular line of business. And it was also a poor choice of partnerships. We didn't have the right partner to help us grow in that particular aspect.
Yeah, scaling is a common issue that a lot of people run into, and a lot of people get scared by it, and a lot of people bail from it. Although if you're willing to work through the scaling challenges that are correct for your business, you will be exponentially in a better position than you are today. Um, for us, one thing that we found as we continued to scale and put the right people in place and do it the right way and not have a capital partner who's directing what we want to do or how we wanted to do it, and we were fully in control of how we wanted to grow. What happens is, and you guys will find out, as you continue to have more success in whatever industry you are, people start coming and knock on the door. Hey, you got a few bucks? You interested in this idea? You interested in that idea? Do you want to do this or do you want to do that? And it's like, some things start coming to knock at your door, and you're like, man, it seems like a really good opportunity. You start to see like some other things that you're like, man, that's got a bigger playing field than what real estate does. So a friend of ours, and actually he just shared a post about this on Facebook recently about a failed opportunity that we had. So I know I can give him a shout out, but Dustin Prevo came to us and he said, hey man, outdoor watering hole, I got this idea for this hunting network where we can have all these different deer stuff. And like, I'm not a big hunter, but my business partner is, and he saw the opportunity and thought that it would be a good thing for us to be involved in, and we could do it for little to no money. But again, to go back to the first thing we were talking about, it became an operational struggle of what our vision was versus what the operator's vision was. And there started to become a rub. And, respectfully, both ways, Dustin said, hey, man, this isn't working out. It was a great idea, but I think we should just move on from it. Dan and I were like, hey, great idea, move on from it. And we're still all friends today, and we still talk about business. And oddly enough, he actually got into real estate. And now we have more common goals and more common things to talk about, which is fun. But, I think overall, getting outside of what your area of expertise is, there are chances to do it. You need to be very careful with how you apply your time, because time is the biggest, or is the most valuable resource that we all have. I know Jason, early on, we went and saw Russell Brunson talk about how he had success with one company and then started 7, 8, 9, 10 companies. And he figured it out. Once he wiped out everything else, one company, one thing, one common goal, and work towards that for one company, and you will be tenfold better. So if you can keep your eyes locked on your prize, however you may see fit to get there, that's the best thing you can do. And it was really fun going back through these operational challenges, as I like to call them, or straight up loser deals, whatever you want to call it. It's been fun to go through these.
No doubt. I mean, listen, they're loser deals, and it is what it is, and you move from it. If, not everything's going to be a winner, I would leave you with, if you're a real estate investor, you want to be a real estate investor, you need to have your investor hat on first. Your investor hat on. A lot of people want to come in and create, in essence, be a deal junkie, do deals, find deals, negotiate, sell, scale. All that stuff's fine. Like, that's all part of it. But it has to be a good investor. And what Warren Buffett has always said is, don't lose money. 3 rules of investing. Don't lose money, don't lose money, don't lose money. Think as an investor first. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this content and these videos that Ian and I have been putting out lately, make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. It really helps us out with YouTube. We're trying to grow our audience. We're really trying to do the best videos and provide the best quality content that we can to everybody. And we got a new one coming out for you soon. Enjoy.